My name's Art Digitano. I'm professor of Earth and Atmospheric Science. I'm also director of NOAA's Northeast Regional Climate Center.
I'm Paul Curtis. I'm an associate professor and extension wildlife specialist at Cornell University. What we're seeing over time is that plant phenology, animal behavior is changing. Migratory geese, they usually arrive in late March, or many of them are already back. Usually that doesn't happen until the first warm spring rains in early April. So things are a couple of weeks ahead of schedule. First flowering of certain plants, we're seeing some plants flower 10 days to 2 weeks earlier than they did in the 1950s, for example.
This winter in particular is due to a combination of really natural patterns of oscillations that we see in the atmosphere. The main one that's going on this winter is called the Arctic Oscillation. The best way to describe that is it's really a strengthening of the low pressure areas that sort of sit over the polar regions. What that does is cause the jet stream to spin very, very fast, and when the jet stream spins very, very fast, it's almost like a wall for the cold air. So the cold air confines itself to the Arctic regions and doesn't spill over into the United States.
And the only thing we know for certain is that change is constant. If you look across the ice core records, global carbon in the atmosphere, it cycles up and down through the various ice ages for the past 200,000 years. Air circulation patterns are global, so we expect that Europe, Asia, and many other parts of the globe are experiencing some of the same things that we're seeing.
Actually, in a lot of cases, the warm and the cold sort of balance out. So if we look at a place like Alaska, which is up in the Arctic, there they've had one of their coldest and most snowy winters on record, so that's where we kind of see a balancing out in those parts of the world. Also, looking at like Eastern Europe and things like that, they've had a fairly cold, or they've had a much colder winter than normal there.
Extreme winters like this will not happen every year. We're going to get natural year-to-year variation, and next year could be a very cold winter, a more normal New York State winter.
I think that what the future holds is a continued warming trend.
From one year to the next, you're likely to see all sorts of changes, but over a 10 or 20 year period, there's definitely a trend for warming.
You kind of think of it as walking up a hill, but that hill has a lot of undulations in it. So sometimes you're very, very warm, but other years you're colder, but your continued trend is upward.